Tigers baseball on Fox Sports Detroit is presented by Bell Tire. The Tigers' dynamic duo of Prince Fielder and Miguel Cabrera have been the best twosome in all of baseball. They've saved some of their best work for home as well. Cabrera hits .349 at Comerica, including 2 home runs last night. How about the Prince? .329 at home. He also went deep in last night's game. The dynamic duo back in the lineup here tonight on a nice night for baseball here in the Motor City. Welcome to Game 2 in this series featuring the Oakland Athletics and the Detroit Tigers. Hi again, everyone. Welcome to Tigers Baseball. Mario and Pemba, Ron Allen. We're glad to have you with us here for Game 2 in the series. Without question, Ron, we've talked about the numbers over and over. The Tigers just seem to play a whole lot better in this ballpark.
I don't know why either. When you have a guy like Justin Verlander, you have a Prince Fielder, you have a Miguel Cabrera, you have a catalyst like in Austin Jackson. It looks like if they don't get to the postseason, it's going to be because they didn't play very well on the road this year, and they lost a lot of one-run games. So they do have a talented team, however, but that has been their Achilles heel.
They'll try and make up some ground on Chicago tonight. What a pitching matchup we have here at the ballpark this evening. 2 really good pitchers for the Oakland Athletics. It is left-hander Brett Anderson, who's coming off Tommy John surgery, and his comeback has been no problem at all. He is 4-1. We know about JV, a 2.28 ERA, second in the league in strikeouts with .218. This is a dynamic pitching matchup tonight.
No doubt about that. And let's start with Justin Verlander. I really like the way that he took the ball 5 days ago. It was against the Cleveland Indians. He threw 97 miles an hour in the very first inning with that outstanding fastball, and he's got that knee buckling breaking ball as well. When you start talking about Brett Anderson, here's a guy that missed most of last year, the majority of this year with Tommy John surgery, but he has an outstanding breaking ball. I was talking to his pitching coach before the game today, Kurt Young, and he told me that he's much more efficient this time around. He's not throwing 95 miles an hour as he did before the surgery. He's right around 92, 93. He's only walked 4 all season long.
All right, it should be a good one here tonight. Tigers trying to make it 2 straight over the Athletics. Glad you are with us. Game 2 coming up shortly, but first we go back to the Coliseum Studios. Here's Mickey York. Sports Detroit is brought to you by Comerica Bank. Strength and stability since 1849. Ram, feel the power of Ram trucks now during the Ram Power Days. And by General Mills Cereal, Big G Cereals, a healthy start to your day. Nice night for baseball here in the Motor City. Game 2, the Tigers and A's lineups. First pitch coming up next. By auctioning off some of the Tigers' favorite things. Some of our favorite things include a Justin Verlander fastball blowing away an opposing hitter. A monstrous home run from Miguel Cabrera soaring into the center field shrubbery at Comerica Park. A triumphant bat flip from Prince Fielder after smoking another ball into the seats. And a dancing closer after wrapping up another Tigers victory. Our favorite things are on display tonight in downtown Detroit, and it starts now. Welcome back to Comerica Park. Justin Verlander takes the mound here. The Tigers taking on the Oakland Athletics in Game 2 of the series. If the Tigers combine for 3 or more home runs in this game, bring a copy of the box score to a participating Arby's location tomorrow and get a free small order of curly fries. Bob Melner's team has been the best in baseball since the All-Star break. However, last night they ran into a brick wall as the Tigers put up 12 runs on them. Here's the starting lineup for the Athletics tonight. Some changes. Stephen Drew will lead things off. He's at short. Seth Smith, the DH, followed by Josh Reddick. Yoenis Cespedes in center field. Moss in left. Donaldson at third. Barton, Norris, and Pennington in the lineup, brought to you by your Metro Detroit Chevy dealers. Justin Verlander, meanwhile, is presented by Soaring Eagle Casino.
I wonder which JV will show up here tonight. Will it be the Justin Verlander that starts out at about 90-91 with the fastball, or the Verlander we saw 5 days ago? He was up to 97 in the very first inning. Chili Davis, the hitting coach of the Oakland Athletics, said Verlander's the guy they have to get early if they're going to get him at all. Beaumont Health System will sponsor the Tigers' defensive alignment this evening, just as they do every single night. It's Dirks in left. It is Jackson in center. It's Garcia in right. Prince, Infante, Peralta, Cabrera in the infield, and Gerald Laird getting a start once again here tonight. Alex Avila is not available.
Well, Jim Leland said against lefties the rest of the way, more than likely Abisail Garcia will be in the lineup. There's Mr. Garcia tonight. He is patrolling right field for the Tigers. And the Tigers trying to make it 2 straight here. Unable to make up any ground on Chicago. They won also last night, so the Tigers still 3 games back. Stephen Drew will start things off for the Athletics. It'll be Drew, Smith, and Reddick on another crisp evening here at the ballpark. 64 degrees our game time temperature tonight. And the first pitch of the ball game. It's a strike called on Stephen Drew. Drew batting .216, 7 for his last 42. Offensively has not performed all that well of late. And he takes a ball inside. 1 ball, 1 strike.
And Verlander already up to 94 with the first 2 fastballs to Stephen Drew.
Drew was 0 for 4 last night. Punched out a couple of times as well. The 1-1 is a strike on the outer edge. 1-2. Drew thought that might have been a little bit outside, so he steps out of the box. Acquired in a trade from the Arizona Diamondbacks. And he's waiting on a 1-2. Swing and a miss. Down he goes, and Verlander dusts him with a 95-mile-an-hour fastball. And he's got some words for Scott Berry as he walks back.
No way, if you're Stephen Drew, you can catch up to the fastball at 95 above the letters, and he swings right underneath it.
Here is Seth Smith, the left-handed batting DH tonight. Smith last night was hitless as well. He was 0 for 4. And he shoots 1 foul back out of play.
Tigers bullpen was outstanding last night. Max Scherzer had to leave the game with a right shoulder fatigue, and that bullpen came in, and boy, did they do an outstanding job.
Max was hopeful before the game today that he'll be able to make his next start. We'll have to wait and see how he responds to treatment, though. The MRI said no structural damage, just some fatigue in that right shoulder.
And Verlander already using all of his pitches here in the very first inning. We've seen the fastball in the mid-90s. We saw a changeup to Drew and a breaking ball right there to Smith.
There's the 1-1 way outside. 2 balls and 1 strike on Smith, who had one of the 2 hits against Verlander last time they faced JV in Oakland, and one of those was a home run, and it was off the bat of Smith. One of his 13 long balls this year. Here's the 2-1. Sails high. 3 balls, 1 strike. Athletics have won 84 games, the best record in the major league since the All-Star break. They're 41-20 since the break, and he's done a lot of their damage. Reddick waiting on deck.
They pitch and they hit a lot of home runs.
The 3-1. Make it 3-2 on Smith. They also strike out a lot. They struck out 9 more times last night as an offense. And they've already established a franchise record for strikeouts in a season. The 3-2. Missed it outside. Ball 4. Verlander wanted it, didn't get it, and it's a 1-out base runner.
Let's take you back to May 15th. This was the start that Verlander had at the Coliseum out in Oakland, and he was simply dominant this day. As a matter of fact, we thought possibly on this particular day it was going to be a no-hitter for Verlander. The Oakland Athletics were no match for Justin.
He had it going that day. They'll throw back with Smith, the runner at first base.
That had to be Mother's Day with all those pink bats and pink sweatbands and whatnot.
8 strikeouts that day in 7 innings. And a strike on the outer edge.
Oakland Athletics run quite a bit as a club. 115 steals as a team, but Smith on first base is not one of those guys that usually steals bases.
And that's drilled to right field on a line, but straight at Garcia. 2 gone. Reddick is out of there. He had been torching Tigers pitching this year, but not this time.
His big league career, Reddick has torched Tigers pitching, even when he was wearing that Boston Red Sox uniform.
Here is Yoenis Cespedes. He'll bat with 2 outs. And last night was 1 out of 2, had an RBI. Our first look at Cespedes this year. He was injured when the Tigers played them back in May in Oakland. Had a bad wrist at that point. Multi-talented outfielder playing center field tonight. And again, Smith will draw a throw. Cespedes takes inside. 1 ball and no strikes. Yoenis, one of the big offseason prizes as far as free agents out there. Athletics won the right to negotiate with him, and they kind of stole him away from a couple of other teams that were considered the front runners. Swing and a miss. Good breaking ball there. 1-1.
Tigers actually were entertaining the thought of signing Cespedes as well until they got Prince Fielder. A real nice slider here by Verlander had Cespedes out in front.
Tigers certainly happy with what they've gotten out of Prince, who reached the 100 plateau last night in RBIs.
No doubt.
Here's the drive back up the middle, and Peralta has to go off his glove. Meanwhile, Smith going to be caught between second and third, and he's going to be out. He rounded the bag, he put on the brakes, and then it was too late. Get set to stroll in. The Tigers lineup brought to you by Big Boy, Jackson, Infante, Cabrera, your top three. Prince in the middle along with Young and Peralta. Garcia starts in right, Dirks in left, Gerald Laird will do the catching. And they will face Brett Anderson, the lefty for the A's, presented by Fox Toyota of Rochester Hill.
Anderson, the only one that's not a rookie in the starting rotation for Bob Melvin. He had Tommy John surgery last year, missed most of this season, but he's been good since coming off the disabled list. He's won 4 and lost 1, and the ERA is sub-2, and he's not giving away any free passes.
See how he does against an offense that put up 12 runs on 14 hits last night.
That was the most runs Oakland has given up all year.
Jackson, a big part of it, was 3 for 5. He scored 3 times. And AJ takes ball 2 outside. 2-0 on Jackson. Anderson, 24 years old. He is out of Midland, Texas. That's where he was born. Here's a 2-0 pitch. And that's in for a strike. Grew up in Stillwater, Oklahoma. His dad was the head coach at Oklahoma State. That's in for a strike, and now the count goes 2-2 on Jackson.
And my son Rod Jr. played his senior year for his dad.
Here's the 2-2 pitch. And a foul tip into the glove for strike 3.
Here's how Oakland will line up defensively this evening. It's Moss in left. Cespedes is in center field. Josh Reddick is in right. Derek Barton getting the start at first tonight. Drew and Pennington are up the middle. Donaldson is at third. And Derek Norris is behind the plate this evening for Bob Melvin.
Here's Infante with one out. Omar takes ball one high. The last time we saw Brett Anderson, he was a little bit heavier. He lost 25 pounds and has slimmed down quite a bit. That slice to right field, and it's going to be caught on the run by Reddick. 2 outs. That'll bring up Miguel Cabrera, who should get a nice round of applause. Big night last night for Miguel. 6 RBIs. He homered twice in the game and hit a grand slam home run.
I wonder if Oakland will even mess with him tonight.
They might want to stay away. They're strike one. Cabrera proving last night that if you do mess with him, bad things can happen. There's ball one inside. So in his last 30 games, 10 home runs against the Athletics. And missed again, and the count goes to 2-1.
And with Prince Fielder in the on-deck circle, even though Prince has driven in 100 this year and has quite a few big flies, it might be one of those days where they like the lefty-lefty matchup better than this particular matchup with Cabrera and Anderson.
Yeah, it's looking like it right now, 3-1. Miguel's 2 homers last night gives him 40 on the season. Griffin last night was rocked, and he had been pitching really well.
He had nightmares last night.
3-2. Eight-game hitting streak for Cabrera. And the 3-2. And it is off the glove. Ball 4.
Left-handers really have not been a problem for Prince Fielder this year, and that's apparently what he will have to do. He'll have to hit against Anderson all night long. Here's some of the damage that Prince has done against left-handers this year. And when he's not leaving the building, he's simply taking a base hit the opposite way. He keeps that shoulder in a long, long time and has tremendous concentration against southpaws.
Is that the key, keeping that shoulder in?
No doubt. You have to stay on the ball.
And he takes ball one inside. And Fielder, here are his splits. I mean, 320 is good against righties, but 280 is really good as well against lefties.
44 stakes, too.
That's in for a strike. 1-1.
That would be RBIs for some of you new listeners.
Here's Anderson's 1-1, and it's a ball outside.
What's your favorite steak?
Filet.
Filet?
Yeah.
That's why you stay so slim.
It's nice and lean.
Like them little bitty steaks.
Here's the 2-1. Bouncing ball back up the middle. They hadn't played perfectly, though. Stephen Drew will tag the bag. Inning is over. No runs, a walk, one left. On the second we go. Second, it's an HD kind of night here at the ballpark. This game is available in high definition on Fox Sports Detroit HD, sponsored by Xfinity from Comcast. Cool evening again here at the ballpark. September baseball is in full swing. The season winding down. Tigers need to make up some ground. It'll be Brandon Moss to lead things off for the Athletics, facing Justin Verlander. JV gave up a walk and a hit in that first inning, but no damage. Moss hitting .268. Last night, good night, 3 for 4. Had an RBI and a double. And Verlander misses high, 2-0. We're talking about how amazing it has been for this Athletics team and all the games they've won, yet the batting averages are really low up and down their lineup.
Bob Melvin figures out a way for his guys to score runs, though. 303 runs since the second half began. That's third best in the American League.
Pretty good. And they came in at 84 and 63.
And they're averaging almost 5 runs per game. Second half of the season. Chili Davis, their first year hitting coach.
2 balls, 2 strikes.
And Chili was a pretty good hitter himself. He had a lot of home runs. He hit from both sides, too. One of 4 players born in Jamaica to play in the major leagues.
Here's the 2-2. Outside, 3 balls, 2 strikes. And Brandon Moss, Josh Donaldson to follow, and then Derek Barton for the Athletics. Bouncing ball foul.
I had my best spring training ever. This was after the '83 season. I went down back home to Los Angeles, and I worked out with Chili Davis every single day. We would run on the beach in the morning, and then we would go hit in the afternoon. And because we worked so hard that offseason, that's the year I made that Tigers team out of spring training.
That's rolled to first base, and Verlander will cover. 1 away. Well, I want to remind you, tonight's game features an auction of Tigers players' favorite things, handpicked by the Detroit Tiger wives. All proceeds benefit the Detroit Tigers Foundation. To bid, call 313-471-2100. And our Shannon Hogan will be by in a little bit to fill you in on some of those packages. There's Max Scherzer's package of goodies. John Keating's hairspray is in there as well.
That had to be in there.
There's a strike call. You're talking about your days with Chili and running on the beach. That'll get your legs strong, won't it?
That's what he was all about at that point in time. He was very serious. He spent 19 years in the major leagues.
Here's the 0-1. Breaking ball missed inside. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Have you ever went for a jog in the sand on the beach?
Yeah, but nothing like guys that actually work out on the beach. Yeah, it is a great workout. The Molina brothers swear by it. They're from Puerto Rico, and they do a lot of running on the beach. Here's a drive to center, right back up the middle, a chuck and duck for Verlander, and there's a 1-out hit.
A little breaking ball there. They got down to the bottom of the zone, but Donaldson got down there with it and dropped the bat head right on it. Whistled right past Verlander.
Second hit of the game for the Athletics. We'll bring up Derek Barton, who's playing first base tonight. Barton came on late in last night's game, pinch hit, and actually flied out to end the game.
And Barton has been known more for his glove than his bat since he's been in the big leagues.
He's also been known to work a pretty good count, and his on-base percentage has always been a big part of his game. He has not had any success really against Verlander. 1 for 10. He's always been an on-base percentage guy, and at one time a couple of years ago drew 110 walks. The 0-1. Little looper into shallow left field. Peralta can't get it. It'll be a base hit. So something going now for the Athletics. 2 on and 1 out.
Second consecutive hit in this inning that Verlander has given up on a off-speed pitch. That was a changeup at 85 miles an hour.
third hit of the game tonight for the Athletics. Now the number 8 hitter, Derek Norris. Batting just 195. But as you can see, 3 of his 5 home runs have put the A's in the lead. Ball high from Verlander at 95. Norris came over in that Tommy Milone deal that involved Gio Gonzalez from the Nationals. Gio Gonzalez going to the Nationals. Milone and Norris coming over. Two balls, no strikes. It's amazing how much pitching the Athletics have traded away over the years, and it's big time names too.
And they just continue to get young pitching in return. They're no name guys when Billy Beane acquires them, but you learn about them quickly.
Fouled straight back. 2-1. Here's some of the guys they've traded away. Andrew Bailey, Gio Gonzalez, Trevor Cahill, all this offseason.
They traded away all-stars.
Reddick's hit a lot of homers since coming over. Malone and Parker have pitched well. And I would imagine, Rod, a lot of that credit has to go to their scouting, because they're looking at some guys, obviously, before they pull the trigger on deals, and they've guessed right on the guys they wanted back.
Well, just to give you an idea of their scouting, the Tigers were kicking the tires on Gio Gonzalez as well before he was traded to the Washington Nationals. And the Oakland Athletics were asking for Drew Smyly and Jacob Turner. At the time, the Tigers were not willing to part with either of those young pitchers. Of course, Jacob Turner has since been traded to the Miami Marlins, but that's an idea of the kind of players they were asking for when the Tigers were looking at adding a left-hander to their rotation.
And we've gotten an idea of how good Drew Smyly will be. Here's the 2-2. 3 balls, 2 strikes on the number 8 hitter, Derek Norris.
I do not know what Bob Melvin is thinking here. 3-2-1 out. They do like to run quite a bit, but it might be too risky for him to start his base runners with the strikeout artist on the mound, Justin Verlander.
Donaldson, Barton, the base runners. And they will hold, and it's strike 3 called, and Norris knew it. He'll simply walk back to the bench.
It's a wise decision as well by Bob Melvin, knowing that Justin Verlander has about 3-4 pitches at his disposal that he can strike you out with. He chose the heater that time.
Well, the Athletics continue to add to their franchise high in strikeouts, and the Tigers pitching staff, well, they're the 5th most in baseball with their strikeouts, so it's a good matchup in this series for the Tigers to pile up some Ks. Ball 1 high to Cliff Pennington now with 2 outs. 0 for 3 last night for Pennington. He did draw a walk. Pennington's next hit against Justin Verlander will be his first hit. It's been a tough go for Pennington against JV. 0 for 11 with 4 strikeouts. Batting here with a chance to drive in a run.
16 of Justin Verlander's first 35 pitches have been 95 miles an hour and above. Make that another one.
2-1.
Verlander was asked after his last start why he came out throwing so hard against the Cleveland Indians, and he said that's what the offseason is for. When you get to August, you get to September, because you've worked so hard in December and January and February, you have a lot left in your tank.
Well, and sometimes we forget about that, but these guys do work extremely hard in the offseason to make sure that they are, as strong as they could possibly be going into the year, knowing how difficult it is to get through a major league season.
Verlander also went through 3 straight starts before his last start where he was giving up some runs in the very first inning.
Popped him up behind home plate, heading back toward the seats. 2-2 on Pennington. JV also said that after that last start, that's time of the year where, obviously teams have seen you a lot. They have a book on you, and you've got to make adjustments and switch it up, which is what he did. Trying to pitch out of a mini jam here in the second. And he missed it low and away. Now 3-2. Stephen Drew waiting on deck. Should Pennington reach? Runners going on 3-2. Fouled back out of play. .25 pitches now in this inning, so the Athletics offense making him work. And Justin now has had 4 3-ball counts already in this game. Fouled away again. Pennington's been pretty hot of late. 341 over his last 14 games. He's trying to bounce back after getting behind early in the game last night. In fact, the Tigers scored in every inning except the 4th and the 7th. Three and two. 1-out singles by Donaldson and Barton. Norris struck out for the second out of the inning. And again the 3-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. Struck him out. So Verlander strikes out his third of the game. A lengthy top of the second. We'll go to the bottom half. No score. Card on a cool night here at the ballpark. And the Tigers against lefty starters at home this season pretty good, 16-8. And they face a lefty here tonight in this one. A team average of 278. They've hit 27 home runs. So the offense has not been troubled at all by lefties. Anderson gave up a walk in the first. That was Cabrera, but he pitched out of any possible trouble. Delman Young, Johnny Peralta, and Avisail Garcia here in the second. Way high and outside, 1-2. Delman was 0 for 5 in last night's ball game. One of the few Tigers that did not put a hurting on the Oakland staff. Here is Anderson's 1-2. Little roller foul back behind home. Young at 270 with 17 home runs. He's had pretty good numbers against Anderson. 4 for 9 against him. Another ground ball foul. Here's the 1-2. Fouled away. We're talking about how the A's have really done a good job of getting guys in return from other teams for star pitchers they've traded away. Anderson was a product of the Dan Herron deal back in 2007. One of 6 players involved in that deal. Little bouncer to second base. Routine there for Pennington.
Oakland also has an outstanding pitching coach, Kurt Young, who spent 1 year in Boston last year, and you know what happened to that entire staff at Boston last season. Theo Epstein, Terry Francona, and everybody else, they were let go. Although he told me he had a chance to interview with Bobby Valentine, but he chose not to. He chose to come back to the Oakland Athletics.
High fly ball right field. It'll stay in the ballpark. Josh Reddick circling. And Peralta's out, 2 gone.
You know, there's a couple of really good pitching coaches in baseball that really don't get as much credit as they deserve. We just saw one in Chicago. That's Don Cooper. And, of course, Kurt Young has done marvelous work with the Oakland A's. He has spent 28 years in their organization.
Well, I could see why Young maybe hasn't had the notoriety he should have, because of, on the West Coast, but over the years, good staffs here in Oakland. There's a ground ball left side, deep in the hole. Drew, nice play. His throw is in time, and a terrific stretch by Derek Barton. Tigers go 1-2-3. Garcia is out, and we play 2 here at the ballpark.
My favorite things auction for the Detroit Tigers. Then those baskets were prepared by their wives and girlfriends. You are not going to want to miss this because we have some great auction items going on tonight. In this auction, this is auction item number 1. We have Quentin Berry. He has all kinds of signed stuff in there, including one of his favorite TV shows, The Mentalist. Max Scherzer, you guys know I get all excited about Max Scherzer because of the Mizzou connection. There will be some Mizzou stuff in there, as well as tickets for next season for when he pitches. Mario, lots of Starbucks stuff in there, I know, in your basket. And this also includes John Keating stuff, which, of course, you have to have the hairspray. But he also is really big into the headphones, those noise-canceling headphones. That'll be in there. Tons of signed stuff by the guys. This is the auction item number 1. Now, the wives are actually just upstairs at the game. They're going to be taking your phone call. You saw the number there on the screen. If you want to bid on this auction item, you can call them up. Or you can go onto the website, and that's tigers.com, and then a backslash of wives. Mario, anything that wasn't in your basket that you were kind of thinking, oh, that's a favorite thing, I wish I'd added that?
Well, there's a lot of stuff. I mean, a lot of the food stuffs I thought I would. You know, Max was talking on the pregame show about beef jerky. I love beef jerky, too. I wish I'd have thought of that, but he's got it all covered. You know, that retro jersey, that Scherzer jersey is, well, pretty cool, huh?
That's tight.
Oh, that is cool.
There's a pop-up down the third base line, heading foul, and back into the seats it goes. Well, Shannon will be checking in with you. Thanks very much. There's Max, and a lot of Missouri stuff in there from Max as well. Of course, that's where Mr. Scherzer went to college. And hopefully the news is good on Max in his next start. We'll wish him well. Drew is leading it off, and Seth Smith and Josh Reddick. No runs, 3 hits for the Athletics. Tigers, no runs, no hits. Verlander's 1-2 is tapped foul behind home. Drew struck out to start the game. Verlander has rolled up 3 strikeouts already. Smith waiting on deck. Here's the 1-2. 2-2 on Stephen Drew. His best year with the Diamondbacks a few years ago, 2008, when he hit 21 home runs. He's a former #1 pick of Arizona. And a ground ball foul.
That may be part of the reason why Drew is wearing an Oakland Athletics uniform. Bob Melvin was the manager of the Diamondbacks back then. So he saw him when he was really good.
And he shoots that one in the air, foul, heading back to the seats.
Oakland so far is accomplishing exactly what Chili Davis told me they would do. They would try to get the pitch count up of Verlander. They are closing in on 50 here, and it's just the 3rd inning.
27 pitch second inning. One of the main reasons why. And again, the 2-2. Bouncing ball left side of the infield. Johnny on the backhand. His throw is thrown away. But Drew will not advance as it hit the railing and bounced back.
Johnny Peralta has not made an error in 75 straight games. That almost came to an end. This ball just missed from going into the Oakland dugout.
And had he gone in, Drew would have been given second base. As it stands, it's an infield hit. Here is Smith. That is 4 hits now for the Athletics, all singles. Good scoop down there by Prince. He had to dig that one out of the dirt.
I was talking to Bob Melvin before the game, the manager of the A's, and he was talking about just how tough this road trip will be for his team. When they leave here tomorrow afternoon, they go to New York, and when they leave New York, they go to Texas.
Boy, that, especially down the stretch when guys are pretty much running on adrenaline, can be a very difficult trip. Ball outside. 1-0 on Smith. So far tonight, the A's are averaging 5 pitches per at bat, which has driven that pitch count up for Verlander. He's been able to sidestep a little bit of trouble. Way outside. 2 balls, no strikes. We've seen Rod Verlander throw to first base quite a bit, even with guys that aren't what you would call base stealers. Is there any pure reason for that, do you think?
Well, Oakland runs a lot, and the one thing that some teams this year have been able to exploit on Verlander, they've been successful most of the times when they have stolen bases. He wants to keep his double play in order, and he also knows Bob Melvin will manage aggressively here against him tonight, because Verlander is one of those pitchers that usually does not give up 3-4 hits in an inning. So sometimes you have to make things happen.
2-0 on Smith. There's a strike. 2-1. He walked in the first inning and then was indecisive on a base hit by Cespedes. He rounded second, tried to get back to the bag, and was thrown out.
It's a good hit and run count here for Bob Melvin, should he want to put that play on with Smith and Drew at first base.
Outside. 3-1. So again, Verlander goes to a 3-ball count. JV mumbling a little bit right now. He felt that he gave it to me on the last pitch. Here's the 3-1. Swing and a miss. Up and around the letters, and he threw it right by Smith. Reddick waiting on deck. Foul straight back. Smith, a former Colorado Rocky.
Wasn't he the backup quarterback to Eli Manning at Ole Miss?
He was. Smith playing 3 years at Ole Miss. And again the 3-2. High fly ball, right field, fairly deep. Garcia backing up to the warning track. First out of the inning. While we have a chance, to the studio we go for a game break. Here's Mickey York. Look forward to it. Thanks, Mick. Hopefully Mr. Chen can pitch a good game tonight. He's got a tough opponent, Chris Sale. Here's Josh Reddick now with 1 on 1 out. Reddick hit the ball hard his first time up, lined out to the right fielder. He's taken all the way, and it's ball 1. "29 home runs this year for Smith. Or for Reddick, I should say. 2 out of 3 in the ball game last night. Reddick has provided much of their pop. 79 driven in.
6 of the 11 batters that Verlander has seen in the game so far have seen at least 6 pitches in their at bat. And that is quite different. And most of the time the approach against Verlander is swing and swing early, because if you let him get ahead of you,
right,
he's one of those guys that can most definitely put you away. This is like the Oakland Athletics team of about 5-6 years ago, when they really thought about on-base percentage and working counts.
Hit that one straight up in the air. Shallow right field. Garcia coming in. He'll call for it. And Reddick is retired. 2 gone.
And last couple of hitters, and Verlander has thrown him a changeup and gotten him to pop up. It's a 2-0 count there that Reddick gets right underneath it.
Second out of the inning. That'll bring up Cespedes. A little chat on the mound before Cespedes stands in. Had a soft line drive single his first time up. Second hit in the series. Drew led off the inning with an infield hit. He is still standing at first base. One of 4 hits for the A's so far. Ground ball left side. It's going to find a hole. Base hit. 5 hits, all singles for the Athletics. 2 on, 2 out. And Cespedes 2 for 2 tonight. That'll bring up Brandon Moss. Verlander in his last start in 7 innings against the Indians gave up 6 hits the entire night. He's already given up 5 tonight. And Moss has been one of their hotter hitters. 370 in his last 16 games as he looks at a breaking ball strike. 0-1. He also had 14 RBIs in that stretch. Fouled away. Now he's in the hole. 0-2.
Oakland came into play today hitting .261 as a club with runners in scoring position. They're already 0 for 2 today.
Missed it outside. 1 ball, 2 strikes on Brandon Moss. 64 pitches now for Verlander, and we're only in the 3rd. Drew and Cespedes, your base runners. And a ball low. Even the count now. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Justin came into this one 6-5 career against the Athletics, but an ERA of about 2.5. Swing and a miss struck him out. Verlander again. Strange couple. That is 4 strikeouts. Verlander frustrating the A's hitters so far in this one. Of the third in a scoreless ball game here tonight at Comerica, and Brett Anderson goes back to work facing Andy Dirks, Gerald Laird, Austin Jackson. Verlander has dodged a couple of bullets, no runs, 5 hits, 5 left for the Athletics in this game. Dirks showing bunt, drags one down, first base line, gonna be a tough play, no chance. Dirks with a beauty of a bunt single.
Real nice technique. When you're trying to get the ball past the pitcher, you have to make sure you stay in the batter's box long enough to create the bat angle that you need to create to do so. And with a left-handed pitcher on the mound that falls off toward the third base side, it's perfect timing by Andy Dirks. Outstanding job.
First hit of the ball game for Detroit. Let's see if they can bring Dirks around. Here's Gerald Laird, who had a nice night last night. Laird had 3 hits. Still filling in for Alex Avila, who before the game today, Jim Leyland said that they're hoping to get Avila back before the next series or at the start of the next series. That's in for a strike, 0-1.
Yeah, Jim said he was unavailable tonight to do anything.
And he shows bunt, drops one down. It's going to be a tough play. Throw, safe. And Gerald Laird with a bunt single.
That's good scouting. Jim Leyland talked about the Tigers had a couple of scouts that had been watching the Oakland Athletics for a couple of weeks. They know that Anderson likes to fall off toward that third base side of the pitching rubber. Therefore, we've had a couple of guys exploit that weakness here in Dirks and also Laird. Laird usually, when he bunts for a base hit, he goes down the third base line, not the first base line. Now, that's an outstanding play by Anderson as well. He almost recovered to get the out there.
He almost made a great play. Here's Jackson now, nobody out. They're in tight at the corners, but no sign of bunt, and it's ball 1.
Tigers don't usually have 2 scouts out watching any team toward the end of August and early September, because they had not seen the Athletics since early May. And the stakes are so high for the Tigers right now. Jim wanted to make sure that he and his staff and his players knew about as much about the A's as possible.
Well, not only have they not seen him in a while, but their roster has undergone some turnover as well.
That's just a good observation. I mean, knowing that Anderson falls off toward that third base side like most left-handed pitchers do. And just a couple of really good bunts by the Tigers.
1 ball, 1 strike on Jackson, who struck out back in the first. Bouncer right back up the middle. This will be a tough play for Drew. He's charging and he throws him out. Stephen Drew makes a nice play, but that's as good as a bunt. 1 gone.
Hey fans, the Tigers are looking for new or gently used baseball or softball equipment. Bring your gloves, bats, balls to Comerica Park's Gate A this Saturday from 4 p.m. through the end of the second inning. A game ticket is not necessary to donate items. All donations benefit Detroit Tigers Foundation.
It's going to bring up Infante, who lined to right field his first time up. If Omar doesn't get this run in or runs in, do you feel that they walk Cabrera?
Absolutely.
And go after Fielder?
Absolutely.
So this becomes a huge at bat here for Omar. Infante 0 for 4 in the series. Lines one fair down the third base line. That'll get 1, maybe 2 in. Here comes Laird. He'll score. Infante's in with a 2-run double.
Omar made a bid for a base hit his first time up. Reddick in right field made a really nice play. And Anderson's one of those guys that likes his fastball, not afraid to come inside. And Omar got to it, but I was surprised how close Donaldson was playing in at third base. Look at where he starts. He's in front of the bag. Had he been playing back about 3-4 steps in that particular situation, he makes that play. Omar was not going to bunt there. It was almost like an infield in situation on the corners for Bob Melvin.
Runner on third, less than 2 outs. Omar has gotten it done 70% of the time with the Tigers. Coming into this game, as Cabrera now will get the walk. Coming into this game, opponents were just 3 for 25 against Brett Anderson with men in scoring position. That number has just changed.
It doesn't matter which situation Cabrera comes to the plate in today. What he was doing yesterday against them, 2 big flies and a double and 6 RBIs. Bob Melvin is not going to let Cabrera stand in their way of getting to the postseason this year. And I can't blame him.
Here come the MVP chants. Boy, they were loud last night at the ballpark. So Miguel gets the walk. The intentional variety this time. First and second. And still only 1 out of this inning. It started with a couple of bunt hits. Dirks and Laird. Prince 0 for 1 with a ground out. Checked it. They will appeal. He did not go, says Jerry Meals.
Whoa. Whoa.
Following an intentional walk, this is what Prince does.
Those are Victor Martinez kind of numbers.
They are indeed. 455. Norris able to block that one. 2-0. Prince last night 1 for 3. He was also hit by a pitch last night, and that was the 17th time he's been hit this year. Outside. 3-0.
Told you last night that Prince Fielder nor Miguel Cabrera have yet to swing in a 3-0 pitch all year. Might this be the time that Prince decides to swing in a 3-0 pitch? They both had the green light all year if they wanted to swing in a 3-0 pitch. They just choose not to do so on most nights. Well, every night for that matter.
I'm going to swing at that one. It's way high, and another walk. That's going to load the bases. And this could potentially turn into a big inning now.
Anderson came into action tonight as he gets a visit from his pitching coach, Kurt Young, having only walked 4 batters all season. He's already walked 3, albeit 1 intentional.
Saginaw's own Kurt Young out there from Saginaw Arthur Hill High School. Went on to Central Michigan as well.
Took some of his coaches golfing today at Oakland Hills. Yeah,
nice.
It's a nice track.
Here's Delman now. He bounced out his first time up.
You remember that, right?
Negative. Ball 1 to Delman Young. Guess what's coming? There it is. Triple split. Way inside. 2-0, and now Anderson in some deep trouble.
Well, if he throws the ball anywhere close to the plate here, you know what Delman's going to do. He's going to get a really good swing at it, and he's been doing some damage lately. He's been driving in quite a few runs here second half of the year. Ooh, just missed it.
Anderson had thrown 10 straight balls. That included, of course, the intentional walk, and he finally threw it over the plate.
Oh, Delman would love to have that one back.
He's thrown 46 pitches now, and the ratio has taking a dive.
His command had been much better than that since coming off the disabled list.
Here's the 2-1. Swing and a miss. 2-2 on Delman Young. Little bouncer foul, third base side. Anderson slip.
Fell down, I believe.
Here comes the trainer. Ooh. They want to make sure he's all right. He didn't appear to injure himself because he quickly got up. That's a lengthy conversation, though.
He's done.
They are taking him out of the game. On a slip on the mound, apparently he's feeling something. Otherwise, there's no way he wants to come out of this game. And so now the A's bullpen gets the emergency call. And so we're going to have a pitching change courtesy of Wallside Windows. We'll be back. Arby's. Try Arby's new hot turkey roasters. It's the greatest thing since sliced roast beef. And by AT&T, the nation's largest 4G network. AT&T, rethink possible. Back here at the ballpark, the Tigers have scored a couple of runs. It is 2-0 in favor of Detroit, and they are far from over, it appears. The bases are loaded. Brett Anderson is out of the game, and the funky delivery of Pat Neshek has come into the ball game.
And Neshek having a really good year. Take a look at that ERA. It is under 1 in 17 games so far this year for Oakland. The reason why Miguel Cabrera has already been walked twice in this game, I had a really nice conversation with Miguel today, and I was asking him his rhyme and his reason as to why he did what he did last night. Take a look at the third inning. He hits a home run. This is off A.J. Griffin, a slow breaking ball. But take a look at the foot here. The foot stays on the ground. This is his first at-bat. Same pitcher, A.J. Griffin. Big fly to left field. Now take a look at his other at-bat here. He's going to come up in the fifth inning, and this time he does not leave the foot on the ground. Same pitcher, but he decides to pick the foot up and put it back down. And here's a look at both of them. Usually Miguel, when he has that two-strike approach on the left, he will do that all day long against the same pitcher. But he was telling me today that sometimes catchers really watch what he does with his lower half, and sometimes he'll just switch it up to get the pitches that he wants to get. So not only is he very gifted player as far as the hand-eye coordination and strength, he also knows how to set up the opposition.
Well, many thought that Triple Crown might be a pipe dream, but as we get closer to the end of September, it's turning into a real reality.
Oh, no doubt about that.
2 home runs shy of Hamilton. He leads in the other 2 categories. Of course, the last Triple Crown winner was Yaz in 1967.
And Miguel said he knew he was going to get that breaking ball from Griffin his second time up because he had gotten a lot of them his first time up. And those are the ones that he usually hits to left field. That was a majestic home run by Miguel to left. And then he doubled into right center field off in the same game and another big fly. So a real good day by Miguel.
Well, time now for tonight's Ace Hardware Scott's fan poll question of the game. Speaking of the Triple Crown, which of these 4 is the hardest to accomplish? A, is it the baseball Triple Crown? B, winning 30 games as a pitcher? C, hitting 400? Or D, hitting for the cycle? Text ACE, then a space, then A, B, C, or D to 37338.
Cycle has to be the easiest because it's been done a whole lot more than the others.
But A, B, C, and D, A, B, and C rather, are right up there for some of the toughest things to do in this game.
No doubt.
So it's Delman Young with a count of 2-2, and the bases are loaded. Pat Neshek trying to pitch out of this jam. And a high towering fly ball to center field. Cespedes is under it. Infante is tagging up. And the throw from Cespedes will come back into third base. Sac fly. RBI. 3-0 Tigers. We'll bring up Johnny Peralta. Peralta is 0 for 1. And Neshek delivers right down the middle. Right-handers came in this year just 3 for 39 against Neshek.
When he was wearing a Minnesota Twins uniform, he was tough on the Tigers.
He was tough on everybody in 07 when he appeared in 74 games out of their bullpen. More than a strikeout per inning. Had Tommy John surgery, which slowed him down. Here are his career numbers against Detroit.
Well, for the second consecutive night, both managers dealing with adversity as far as their starting pitchers are concerned. It was Max Scherzer last night who only pitched 2 innings. And today, Anderson only 2 innings.
0-2. Johnny has had a little bit of history with Neshek. 2 for 7. Trying to extend this 3-0 Detroit lead.
This doesn't necessarily bode well for the Oakland A's because they have a pretty good back end of their bullpen, but their middle relief is not that strong, and Bob Melvin's going to have to use a lot of middle relief if he's going to even get to the back end today if the Oakland Athletics are able to score some runs.
1-2 on Peralta. Oakland pen all bundled up. Lifted toward right, slicing away though. And back into the seats it goes. RBIs in this inning, and Fonte has 2 courtesy of a double, and Delman Young with a sacrifice fly. Neshek was with the Twins from 2006 to 2010. Was in San Diego last year. Another foul back out of play. And certainly a delivery like this is not something you see every day. A lot of elbows and knees.
Starting to see more and more right-handers drop down to this arm slot as well. It used to be where it was just left-handers that dropped down to that sidearm angle because their fastballs weren't very strong. But more and more right-handers are starting to drop down to this angle too.
Just missed. 2-2 the count.
So far it's been a lengthy sit down for Justin Verlander. 24 minutes since he last threw his pitch to get out of the third.
There's another one back out of play. Johnny Peralta flying to right field back in the second, 0 for 1. And now 1 for 4 in the series. Tigers staking Verlander to a 3-0 lead. And a ground ball to short. Drew will flip to second for the force. Inning is over. Big inning for the Tigers. They scored 3, and it all started with a little small ball. Bunt hits by Dirks and Laird. That got it going. Top of the 4th inning. Time now for the Bernstein Advantage scouting report. Get the Bernstein Advantage. We go to bat for you. How about the standings in the American League West? On June 11th, the Athletics were 9 games back, and currently, as we play here tonight, they've made up a lot of ground.
That they have.
Just 3 back of division-leading Texas.
It's one of the reasons why their manager's in the Manager of the Year conversation.
Josh Donaldson leads it off against Justin Verlander, who has struck out 4 in this game and scattered 5 hits. Hayes had a lot of early chances to get a couple of runs in this game, but they were thwarted each time by Verlander. That is popped up, back out of play. 1 ball and 1 strike.
A's also squandered some chances last night against Scherzer early in the game.
And in the end, the A's scored just 2 runs. They got 1 in the first off Max, and then didn't score again until the 7th last night. Verlander had a lengthy sit down, courtesy of the Anderson injury. Brett Anderson had to leave tonight after slipping on the mound, delivering a pitch. Here's the 1-1. Way inside as Donaldson backs out of the way. Barton and then Norris to follow. We're in the 4th inning at the ballpark. Outside, 3-1.
A lot of 3-ball counts today by Verlander.
That's why he's at 70 right now. High pop up, shallow left field. Peralta going back. Johnny's under it. 1 gone. So Verlander's getting his outs, just taking a while to get them. Here's Derek Barton. One of 2 singles back in the 2nd, but Verlander then struck out Norris, struck out Pennington, and the threat was over. Strike 1. Justin now has 222 strikeouts for the year. It's the season in which again he's gone over 200 strikeouts. That's becoming a habit as that one shoots out of play.
Also pitches 200 innings a year.
4 straight years of 200 strikeouts and 6 straight seasons of 200 or more innings. Workhorse label certainly fits. The 0-2.
Moment ago, it appeared that Cabrera had some fun with the fans. Was that foul ball? Ricocheted back into play.
There's a foul straight back. Cabrera is all about having fun on the field. And ever since he's gotten here to Detroit, he's flashed that smile on the field. Here's the 1-2 to Barton. And it just missed. 2-2 the count. Verlander's fastball early in this game has been mid-90s from the get-go.
And JV is not happy with the strike zone of Scott Berry here tonight either.
As evidenced by a lot of those 3-ball counts, he's gone deep against a lot of hitters tonight. The 2-2. We'll fight that one off. On deck is the catcher Derek Norris. Tigers got 3 in the bottom of the 3rd. And he missed it low. Another 3-ball count. This time it's full on Derek Barton.
7th time Verlander has gone to a 3-ball count already this evening.
And he ends up losing him. 1-out walk for Barton. Hey, here's your chance, by the way, to vote for your Tigers McDonald's Player of the Game, presented by the Daily Double Burger at McDonald's for only $1.99. Using your cell phone, text Tigers, followed by a space in the player's uniform number to 37338. Or if you'd like, vote online at foxsportsdetroit.com. Omar Infante's had a big hit in this game. 2-run double to put the Tigers on the board. They added 1 more. Here's a ball high, and that'll bring Laird out to the mound to have a chat with Verlander. Just one of those nights where the command has not been pinpoint, and Verlander on several occasions has not liked the strike zone either.
And Laird just trying to calm him down. He can't allow Scott Berry to frustrate him and get him out of his game.
Norris struck out with 2 men on back in the second. That's in for a strike as Berry goes up with the right hand. Tigers had 3 here against the A's to open up this 10-game homestand. Here's another throw, runner back. And then the Tigers will welcome in Minnesota and Kansas City for 4. And they will close out the season on the road in Minnesota and KC. So after the A's, nothing but Central Division opponents. Swing and a miss. He chased one out of the strike zone there. And it's 1-2. I mentioned Norris came over in that deal for Gio Gonzalez from the Nationals. He was their top catching prospects and really one of their best overall prospects. The 1-2. Tap in front of the plate. Laird says, "I'll take it." And his throw is in time. Advance the runner.
Real good communication there between Verlander and also Gerald Laird. Laird simply comes out from behind the plate. He puts his hand up to tell Verlander, "I've got it." Verlander gets out of the way, and then Laird able to get the out at first.
I like the way Laird took his time on this play too. Set his feet, threw him out, knowing that the catcher was running. Here's Pennington now with 2 outs. He struck out as well back in the second. Fouled back out of play. Pennington earlier this year spent some time on the disabled list with a bad elbow. He had some tendonitis. It was the first time in his career that he landed on the DL. Playing second base these days now with the addition of Stephen Drew to their lineup. And the 0-1. Popped up. Shallow left field. Peralta charging back. And in foul ground. Makes the basket catch. Nothing doing for the Athletics here in the 4th. No runs, a walk. 1 man left. A nice running play by Peralta. Back here at the ballpark as we go to the bottom of the fourth in a 3-0 ball game. Tigers on top of the A's here in game 2, trying to take games 1 and game 2 after winning last night convincingly. Garcia leads it off, and he looks at a Neshek pitch outside. 1 ball, 1 strike. Apisail back in the second, bounced out. That was against Anderson. We have not received word on Brett Anderson, who left after slipping on the mound during the 3rd inning. There's a swing and a miss.
Just about every single pitch that Neshek has thrown since coming into the game to the right-handers has been away from them.
Neshek came on, got the sac fly from Young, and then got the ground ball from Peralta. And there's a wave and a miss. And Garcia's down on strikes. 1 away, and we check out now the AT&T trivia question this evening. And it's a good one tonight. When was the last time an American League team had back-to-back MVP winners, and who were they? Back-to-back MVP winners, who were they? Of course, Verlander won the award last year, and perhaps Cabrera this year. Here's Andy Dirks. He rifles one fair down the right field line. It'll shoot to Reddick, and that's going to hold him to a single.
That's unfortunate. That ball appeared to be headed right down to that right field corner. That would have at least been a double and a possible triple for Andy Dirks. And Reddick played that current carom really nicely. That almost got the ball boy too.
So Andy has a bunt single and a line drive single to right field. He came in struggling in the month of September at 170. Here's Gerald Laird. He had the other bunt single to get it going back in the 3rd. And it's a strike called. No balls, 1 strike. Tipped into the glove for strike 2. Getting word on Anderson now. A right oblique strain.
Not good.
Those obliques, man, they're just a lingering injury.
We watched Fister have to deal with that all year long. Jackson had to go on the DL with one this year.
1-2. There's Doug Fister on the right. Guys all bundled up tonight. There's a line drive to right field. How about Gerald Laird? 5 for 5 in the series.
Well, Laird has recognized exactly what Neshek has done to every single right-hander that has come to the plate today. And this may have been off the plate outside. This may have been a ball. But Gerald reaches out there because Neshek has not thrown anything inside. And he gets himself a knock the opposite way.
So the Tigers threatening again here in the 4th inning. 2 on 1 out. Top of the order coming up. Austin Jackson is 0 for 2. Strikeout, ground out. 0-1.
4 of the Tigers' 5 hits so far tonight. And by Dirks and Laird.
Now they will try and score them. Both came around to score in the 3-run 3rd. Jackson takes outside. 1 ball and 1 strike. Neshek pressed into duty back in the 3rd when Anderson slipped. Jim Miller is warming up. Lifted in the air. Shallow right field. Reddick coming on to make the catch. 2 gone. He's going to bring up Infante.
Omar has gotten the biggest hit in this game. It came against Anderson, the starter. It was in the 3rd inning. He doubled down the left field line to plate 2.
And they got the Tigers out to a 2-0 lead. They added one more later in the inning on the sacrifice fly by Delman Young, the DH. And Omar had been struggling for the most part offensively before that 2 base hit, so that came in the nick of time for Infante. Leland has used him quite a bit in the 2 slot in the lineup when he faces a left-handed pitcher to start the game, which was the case tonight with Brett Anderson. Here's the 1-1, and it's outside. 2 balls, 1 strike. Neshek was waived by Minnesota, picked up by the San Diego Padres last year, and appeared in 25 games with San Diego. In the air toward right, slicing away from Reddick, and it'll drop harmlessly into foul ground. Neshek played his college ball at Butler, a university that has been more known for its basketball teams in recent years. The 2-2 fouled away. Like last night when Scherzer had to leave after 2 innings, the A's now will try and piece this one together the rest of the night. Of course, it was easier for the Tigers because they were putting up a whole bunch of runs last night.
It's not the way that Bob Melvin wanted to start off this very difficult road trip his club is on.
Off the plate.
Tigers beat up on A's pitching last night. And they're doing a pretty good job once again here tonight. He's going to have to dip into that bullpen, and we've already told you they have to go to New York from here and then to Texas. And they have pretty good offensive teams too.
3-2 is swung on and missed. Struck him out. That'll do it for the Tigers. They get a couple of hits to strand 2, and we go to the 5th.
Our favorite things auction that's been going on throughout the game. The Tigers' wives are answering your phone calls, and they've been putting together these auction item baskets for their husbands. The next basket we want to talk about has Alex Avila, Phil Koch, Johnny Peralta, and myself. We all have our favorite things in there. Alex Avila, of course, he has a jersey in there and a signed bat. Phil Koch, he has some really good stuff. He has one of those Jawbone jam boxes and assortment of health food items. Johnny Peralta also has some headphones in there. And you guys, of course, I had to throw in my own favorite things. I have some goggles in there because I'm planning on training to hopefully swim in Rio. We all know that's not going to happen. But I want to bring in one of my favorite friends here, Paz. This is not Paz's auction item, but if you want to bid on some of Paz's favorite things, you can go online as well at tigers.com/wives because Paz has some really cool favorite things. You're not going to want to miss out on that either. I also want to let you know that for all the fans that heard about the Max Scherzer gift basket that was the first auction item, that's already up to $2,500. So
wow.
Keep bidding. I think that's pretty good. And I'm going to throw it in there, another thing in my favorite list, a Max Scherzer signed picture. You know, Mizzou.
No, well,
we're representing.
Hey, Shannon, by the way, do you have any more of those pink phone cases? Rod's still waiting for it.
Well, I do have the polka dot one.
Oh,
I still have my
that'll
paisley
do.
one here. The polka dot one is coming, Rod. Don't worry. I forgot it today. I was a little busy, but tomorrow I'll bring one for you.
I'll be looking for it.
Sorry, the ball was coming.
Thank you, Shannon. Appreciate it. Well, the wives are
You
up.
guys, I thought that ball was going to hit me.
Did it come close?
It was really close. You know, sometimes it bounces off the press box and comes down, and I'm always like, what's going on? Where's the ball?
The worst
I'm
pause
good.
when you need him.
I know, right? I'm good, though. No worries. We'll update you on the rest of the auction items as they come along.
All right, Shannon, go see cover. Here's a line drive foul heading back out of play. And the wives are answering the phones as we speak. In the Tigers offices, there's the auction hotline, 313-471-2100. So make your bids right now. There's the 1-2 pitch. That'll get back into the seats. 1-2, the count stays on Stephen Drew. As the A's hit here in the fifth inning, Tigers ahead by a 3-0 score. Drew had an infield single back in the third. And tonight, the Athletics have stranded 6. They've had 5 hits. Foul tip at home plate. 1-2, the count stays on Drew, Smith, and then Reddick to follow in the Oakland fifth inning. Verlander's pitch count is high because he's gone to a lot of 3-ball counts, yet he has kept the Athletics off the board at this point. 7 3-ball counts. Checked it, and he held up.
I don't know how in the world he was able to hold up on that one. That was a wicked breaking ball.
Here's the 2-2. Ground ball foul. So the pitch count on Verlander right now, as we mentioned, it's been elevated 93. So it looks like he may hit 100 here in the fifth inning, which is something that we haven't been accustomed to seeing recently because JB's gone deeper into games with the pitch count in much better shape. And yet he still has not allowed a run. Fouled away. Not only have they gone to a lot of 3-ball counts, but they have fouled off a lot of pitches too. Swing and a miss, and down goes Drew.
And Verlander gets a strikeout there with the fastball, and one of the reasons why his pitch count is way up is that a lot of the fastballs that he has thrown today have missed the zone. He has gotten a couple of strikeouts on the heater, but when he has found himself getting behind, he's had 7 3-ball counts. He's simply gone to the changeup in fastball counts, and he's had some guys out in front. He's had some guys popping up, and he's been frustrating some guys. So it's nice to have that secondary pitch if you're not necessarily locating your fastball where you want to.
Smith batting with 1 out. 5 strikeouts now for JB. Seth Smith. Fly ball and a walk. Here's the 1-0. Sent back out of play, 1-1. Verlander at home this year has been really, really good. 7-2 with an ERA of 1.70. So So at home in this ballpark, Verlander has been difficult to beat, to say the least. He's got himself a 3-0 lead tonight. Little tapper foul down the first base line. 1-2. Verlander went through a stretch where he had 4 straight no decisions. Then he got a win against the White Sox. Reddick waiting on deck. And the 1-2. Foul straight back. Two and two the count. JV came into this game with 121 career wins, good for 11th all-time already in the Tigers list. There's a ground ball back up the middle, ranging left. Peralta booted it.
There goes the streak.
Smith is aboard on what should be an error, ending the long streak for Johnny Peralta.
75 games.
His 6th error of the season. Right on the heel of the glove. 1 on 1 out. Here's Reddick. He had a big swing there. 0-1. Reddick is 0 for 2. He came in 10 for 20 against Tigers pitching this year, but has yet to get a hit tonight. Swing and a miss. Another big rip. 98 from Verlander.
87 to 98 miles an hour with this blazing fastball.
And well located as well. Here's the 0-2. Fouled away. 99 that time from Justin.
This is not what Jim Leyland was looking for out of his ace here tonight. Oakland hasn't scored, but Verlander already over 100 pitches.
And still only 1 out here in the 5th. Another foul back out of play.
Tigers bullpen had to throw a lot of pitches in last night's game. But Jim said that he has plenty of guys down there. There's a couple of guys that aren't available. But for the most part, the back end of the bullpen's intact.
Ball high. 1-2.
A lot of Verlander's fastballs here to Josh Reddick. Although in the upper 90s, a lot of them have been up in the strike zone and have missed for balls or fouled off.
Verlander's gone at least 100 pitches in every start, with the exception of the start he made 2 starts ago out in Anaheim against the Angels.
What, 97 that day, didn't he?
He did indeed. Stopped his streak. That is popped up. Third base side. Cabrera, will he have room? He will not. That streak was 80 consecutive starts of at least 100 pitches that came to an end. And he's at 107 right now. Smiley the lefty, Dotel the righty.
I don't think we've seen Dotel get up in the 5th inning once this year.
I don't believe we have. It's September. Jim Leyland trying to win a ball game tonight, so he's getting Smiley up, but there's a possibility Scherzer will not be able to make his next start. There's a ground ball to first. Prince has it. He'll fire to second one. Relay to first. A double play. 3-6-3. And nothing comes of the air. You're watching Tigers baseball tonight, presented by Bell Tire.
Pitch at how Verlander goes after Josh Reddick, who's had some good numbers against the Tigers. He throws him a changeup at 87, and everything else is a fastball that's pretty much up in the zone that Reddick continues to foul off until he throws the breaking ball down, and then Prince starts the 3-6-3 double play. And as Verlander strolled off the mound, he was talking to his manager and pleading that he not take him out of this game and give him one more inning to help save that bullpen tonight.
It's more like he was telling him he's coming out for another.
I didn't want to say that.
There's a line drive down the right field line, and that is going to be a fair ball. No, it's a foul ball. Cabrera almost had himself another hit in this series. That one slicing away from Reddick.
He came in hitting .333, leading the American League in batting. Ooh. You know, Jim in his office today, when he was meeting with the media, he was talking about there have been a lot of times this year where there was an error made. The pitchers just have not been able to help out the fielders. Sometimes they do, but there have been some times where they haven't, and they've lost some very close games. That time, Verlander really bailed Peralta out.
Yeah, he sure did, as Jim put it, pitching above errors or pitching above the mistakes the Tigers at times have not done well. Well, Justin got the double play to end the inning. (3-0) Detroit. We're in the 5th inning here. There's another one down the right field line. Reddick is on the move for this one, and he'll get there. Another missile off the bat of Cabrera as we check out the Mazda scouting report. Always fun to talk about Miguel Cabrera, and since August 1st we're talking about a 2-horse race in the MVP, but down the stretch, look at Cabrera's numbers.
405 with runners in scoring position. Trout hitting .243 with runners in scoring position, but he gets paid to score runs and steal bases, being a leadoff hitter.
Strike one on Prince Fielder. Walked his last time up. In there for a strike. Fielder's second in the American League in on-base percentage. He's been over 400 for most of the year, and that's awfully good. He's at 406 coming in. Pulls this one on the ground to second base. That'll be a routine play for Pennington.
If there was ever a night where Jim might stretch Verlander up to maybe 125, 130 as far as the pitch count is concerned, if in fact Verlander is going back out there, we don't know yet, it would be tonight. It's kind of a cool night.
Yeah, it would make sense. The high water mark this year is 132 for Verlander. So he's gone well beyond what he has so far. Delman shoots one in the air to center field and hit deep. Cespedes going back. Track wall off the base of the wall. Delman on his way to second, pulling in with a double.
The first time tonight that Delman Young has swung at the first pitch, which he does 42% of the time. And the reason why he hadn't swung prior to this at-bat is because he hadn't gotten a strike. Now that's a breaking ball to 83, and for him to drive that ball to the base of the wall, 420 straightaway center field, he torched that.
'25th double of the year for Delman. Here is Johnny Peralta. Breaking ball from Miller is in there for a strike. Jim Miller replacing Pat Neshek, who came in relief of Brett Anderson, who left with the oblique injury. Outside, 1 ball, 1 strike. Dotel now is all alone in the Detroit bullpen.
He must be coming in.
In the air toward right center. That's going to drop. Base hit. Here comes Young. He'll score. A 2-out double by Delman and a single by Peralta scores it.
Delman got himself a breaking ball from Miller and doubled over the head of Cespedes in center field, and Peralta also gets a breaking ball hit off the end of the bat. But he gets himself a base hit and an RBI.
7 for 14 in the series for the Tigers with men in scoring position compared to the A's, who are 2 for 12. That'll get away from the catcher. Norris will chase it, and Peralta goes to second. Wild pitch for Jim Miller. 4-0 Detroit. Verlander over 100 pitches through 5 frames. Garcia 0 for 2. Bouncing ball right side. Pennington gobbles it up. And that's all for Detroit, but they add another run. 4-0 our score as we go to the 6th. Justin Verlander. The Tigers lead the Athletics 4-0, and JV has answered the bell. He'll go back out there. 5 innings, 5 hits. He has struck out 5, walked 2. Yoenis Cespedes will be the first man to face him. Cespedes, then Moss, and then Donaldson. Verlander receiving a double play back in the 5th. There's a ground ball to third, right at Cabrera. His throw is in time. Cespedes retired for the first time tonight. While we have a chance, let's check in with Shannon Hogan.
All right, we're talking about the My Favorite Things auction. This is auction item number 3. It includes favorite things from Darren Downs, Prince Fielder, and Rod Allen. Darren Downs, lots of golf rounds with him, as well as his favorite steakhouse. Prince, you're going to get some double stuffed Oreos in there, as well as some Drake music. Fielder bobblehead, which I'm a fan of. Autographed 2012 Home Run Derby baseball that is signed, and game-worn cleats from him. And Rod, all kinds of candy, as well as lunch with Rod and Simo. That would be fantastic. And get this, you guys, 2 tickets to Tigers opening day in 2013. Go online and bid on those auction items. You can also call the Tigers' wives, that they're going to be taking your calls as well. And you're going to want to hurry up and start bidding on these items. You only have a few more innings. Mario and Rod?
I didn't hear anything after you said double stuffed Oreos.
I know. Well, you know what? I will say he did have that in there. But if you look at Rod's basket, he has like 8 different kinds of candy. So you cannot fault Prince for putting in the double stuffed Oreos.
All right. Thanks, Shannon. Appreciate it. It's going well so far tonight. So your chance to bid for some of these items.
It's for a wonderful cause for sure.
Lunch with you and Simo.
Yeah.
Nice place, I hope.
Always.
Yep, I'm sure it will be. Brandon Moss, the batter. Swing and a miss. 2 balls, 2 strikes on Moss. Donaldson waiting on deck. Verlander ready with a 2-2. Here it is. Popped him up. Left side of the infield, Cabrera coming in. So is Peralta. The shortstop makes the catch. And there are 2 outs. To the studio we go for a game break. Mickey York. All right, thanks, Mick. Thank you, Billy Butler, as well.
KC played the White Sox tough last night. What was the final score of that game? 3-2 last night?
3 solo home runs for the White Sox.
Oh, that's what they do. They hit lots of big flies.
Rios had the game winner.
What a year he is having.
Beckham and De Aza, the other 2. Ball 1 to Donaldson. If the Tigers can hold on here and the White Sox lose their game, 2-game spread. Here's the 1-0. That bends high. 2 balls, no strikes. Verlander certainly now in his final inning. He's thrown 117. Here's the 2-0 pitch. 3 balls, no strikes.
Couple of stressful innings this evening for Verlander. He had a 27 pitch inning. He had a couple of 24 pitch innings.
And there's a walk. 2 out base on balls. Donaldson on for the 2nd time tonight. Let's see what each team has left. The Tigers with this series here against Oakland, mini KC, and then of course those 2 teams on the road. White Sox will go out to take on the Angels. They have Tampa coming in. Cleveland a couple of times. Smiley again joins Dotel in the bullpen. Strike 1 on Derek Barton.
And Jim Leland was sitting down, but after that base on balls, he got up, and he is now standing up behind Rafael Belliard. This might be Verlander's last batter if he doesn't get him.
And he's ahead 0-2. Popped up. Left side of the infield. Cabrera on the line. And that is that. So Verlander had to struggle a little bit tonight. Gets through 6. Does not allow a run. Detroit is brought to you by Bell Tire. Get the lowest tire price, period. Bell Tire. And by Toyota. Brought to you by your Greater Detroit Toyota dealer. There are the numbers so far tonight. Justin Verlander, 6 scoreless innings. The Tigers lead it 4-0. Here's Andy Dirks to lead it off as we go to the bottom of the 6th. And Dirks pops up the first pitch. Let's see if someone can get there. Donaldson at third. Can't quite get to it. 0-1 on Dirks. Laird will follow, and then Austin Jackson. It was the bunt single by Dirks that ignited the rally in the 3rd, in which the Tigers scored 3 runs. In the air to center field, not deep. Cespedes.
Here's that bunt that you were just speaking of regarding Dirks, who led off the 3rd inning with the bunt. Gerald Laird, the very next hitter, also bunted in the same direction. The result was the same. It was a base hit, although a really good play with the glove by Anderson. And then the big hit was the double down the left field line by Omar Infante, driving in Dirks and G-Money.
Laird cuts and misses 0-1. Gerald 2 out of 2 tonight, now 5 for 5 in this series against the A's. And that average up to 289 now. That floats in for a strike. 0-2.
I should have brought a jacket tonight. It's chilly up here.
Getting a little bit cool. Although the scoreboard out there says 62. You buying that?
No, I'm not buying that.
Feels more like mid-50s. Swing and a miss. And so Laird goes down. 2 gone. There's Miller's first strikeout. Bring up Austin Jackson, who is 0 for 3 tonight. Jackson moving a little bit better these days after turning that ankle in Cleveland in the Saturday game.
Yeah, he was running the bases pretty well last night. And he was on a lot.
He was 3 out of 5, scored 3 times last night.
When he's in the starting lineup, the Tigers are 70 and 51, 8 and 18 when Ajax not part of that starting lineup.
Well, he's ahead, way ahead now, 3-0. He's taking. It's ball 4. 2-out base runner, which brings us to our AT&T trivia question again tonight. Mickey trying to win the MVP this year would make it 2 for 2 for the Tigers the last 2 years. When's the last time an American League team had back-to-back MVP winners, and who were they? Texas, Juan Gonzalez in 1998, and former Tiger Pudge Rodriguez in 99.
The little pudgy one.
Infante batting with 2 outs. 4 runs, 7 hits tonight for Detroit. No runs, 5 hits for the Athletics. That's low, 1-0. Norris out there to talk to Miller, who took over for Neshek, and again Anderson had to leave with a oblique problem after he slipped on the mound delivering a pitch back in the 3rd. That was the inning in which the Tigers scored 3 runs. And so the A's had to go to the bullpen really early tonight. The 1-0 is fouled back out of play. And it was Infante that delivered the biggest hit in that inning, a 2-run double down the third base line, giving Omar 17 driven in now in a Tigers uniform. Snap throw, and they almost got him.
They sure did. That's a really nice quick move there by Miller. Looked like Jackson may have been on the move too.
Jackson this year 11 steals, but he's been caught 9 times this season. Well, the power numbers are up this year. The average certainly way up. The stolen base numbers down. He stole 22 last season. There's a ground ball to short. Drew will charge it, and Infante is out. No runs, a walk, 1 left. Down to the 7th inning we go. inning now. The Tigers on top of the A's 4-0. And as we head to the 7th, here's the Jimmy John's leaderboard. Best bullpen ERA since the middle of last month, and the Tigers are behind only Tampa Bay on that list.
It's one of the things that they say down the stretch. Teams that are getting a really good production out of their bullpen, they're going to be in the hunt to getting to the postseason, and most of the teams are on that graphic are in the hunt and getting into the postseason.
So Verlander will turn things over to Octavio Dotel.
He's had a nice year, 60 strikeouts in the 53 innings that he has pitched this year for the Tigers out of that bullpen, and doesn't walk very many.
And his first pitch is fouled straight back off the bat of Derek Norris.
Dotel once pitched for the Oakland Athletics, one of the 13 teams that he has been on.
And he delivers a strike, make it 0-2.
If Dotel has a man cave at his crib, he's got a lot of jerseys up on his wall.
Yeah, that would be a given. Dotel, when he pitched with the A's, was actually closing games back in 2004, 2005. Off the end of the bat foul. He replaces Verlander, who did not allow a hit after the 3rd inning tonight. JV ended up throwing 122 pitches. 38 of those were 95 or above. Albuquerque and Smiley warming up. Oh, and 2 on Norris. It's fouled back out of play. Dotel, along with Gerald Laird, part of that Cardinals team last year. The current battery right now for the Tigers that came back late in the season, got into the playoffs, marched all the way to the World Series, and won a title. So those two guys know what it takes to make up ground late. You need some help, obviously. The 0-2 breaking ball rolled foul. Cliff Pennington waiting on deck. And a ball high. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Norris a strikeout, ground out in this game. Like just about everybody else in their lineup, or at least a good many of them in the Oakland lineup, spending some time this year AAA Sacramento. Here's the 1-2, and it's strike 3 call. He is out of there, 1 gone. Well, don't forget the auction going on until the first pitch of the 8th inning. Tonight's game featuring the auction of Tigers players' favorite things, handpicked by the Detroit Tigers wives. All proceeds benefiting Detroit Tigers Foundation. To bid, call 313-471-2100. And the wives are standing by to take your call and your bids. And they'll be accepting bids until the first pitch of the 8th.
And don't forget to stick around for Tigers Live postgame. Craig Monroe and Mickey York will tell you the winners of the 4 baskets.
Here's Cliff Pennington. He takes a strike. 0-2 on Pennington. He's been punched out a couple of times in this game, or actually once. That was back in the 2nd. He is 0 for 2. He popped up back in the 4th. Verlander leading the game with 5 strikeouts in this one tonight. And there's a strike called. Pennington punching out for the 2nd time.
95 miles an hour And with that fastball by Dotel right down the middle that Pennington could not get the bat off his shoulders. He also threw an outstanding fastball to Norris at 93 on the outside black to strike him out for the very first out of the inning.
Stephen Drew with the bases empty and 2 outs. 1 for 3 tonight for Drew. Single, couple of strikeouts, and a ground ball to first, foul.
Dotel and Mariano Rivera, the only 2 active major league pitchers with at least 50 wins, 100 saves, and 1,000 strikeouts. Just 2 of them.
The 0-1. It's pretty amazing when you think about that.
Just 2 of them. I mean, anytime you get your name in the same sentence with Mariano Rivera, you know you've done something.
Longevity.
And he looks like he's got some years left in him.
Sure does. Based on his numbers and performance this year. Here's the 0-2. 1 ball, 2 strikes on Drew.
That was a breaking ball at 80, but he has gone all the way up to 95 with his fastball.
And the 1-2. Right back up the middle. Peralta gloves it off to his left. And it'll be a 1-2-3 inning. We go to the stretch. Tigers have the big lumber coming up in the bottom of the 7th. Cabrera and Fielder.
My favorite things auction is still going on for another half inning. But if you don't have thousands of dollars or even hundreds of dollars to call in and try to make a bid, you can still donate to the Detroit Tigers Foundation. And you can call the number on your screen to talk to the wives. If you make a donation of up to $50, you're still going to get a little gift bag. It actually has a signed picture of either Mario or Rod and one of the Fox Sports Detroit girls, and actually also a DVD of Justin Verlander's no-hitter from last year. So still some great ways to contribute and help out the Detroit Tigers Foundation. So call that number, talk to the girls, or go online at DetroitTigers.com/wives. Once again, you only have another half inning if you want to get a bid in. Mario and Rod.
All right, Shannon, thank you. Again, that number, 313-471-2100. Time running short now as we play here in the bottom of the 7th. They'll be taking bids until the first pitch of the 8th. Cabrera, Fielder, Young here in the 7th inning. Tigers on top 4-0. They got 3 in the third, 1 in the fifth. Verlander and Dotel to this point have done the rest. High towering fly ball. Deep left field. Moss to the track, to the wall. It's gone. Another towering homer for Miguel Cabrera. 41 on the year.
This was a 94-mile-per-hour fastball that wasn't even a strike. Look at Miguel climb the ladder, pull the hands up, and get enough of this one to hit it out of the yard. That's ridiculous.
It's 130 RBIs for Miguel. Fielder fouls it back. 41 home runs. Ties for 6th on the single season list for the Tigers, and it's 1 behind Hamilton now as the chase for the Triple Crown continues. There's a bouncing ball to second base. Pennington will throw him out. Never ceases to amaze. 41 homers, 130 RBIs. And the Tigers have a 5-0 lead, and she has a souvenir. And it doesn't appear she's giving it up either.
Holding it kind of close.
With 2 hands. And they'll get back into the seats in a hurry. Here's where Cabrera stands now in the Triple Crown categories. He's first in average, first in RBIs, and now trailing Hamilton by just 1 in home runs. One ball, 1 strike. Delman had a sac fly to knock one in back in the third. He's also doubled and scored. The double came with 2 outs. And then Peralta plated him with a base hit. That was in the 5th inning. 8 more hits tonight for the Tigers offense. 1-2. Third home run of the series for Cabrera, who hit 2 last night, including a slam.
In the month of September, he has accounted for nearly 40% of the Tigers' runs scored. Nearly 40%.
That's kind of unheard of.
It's stupid.
2 gone after the strikeout of Young. Here's Peralta. Johnny an RBI single in the 5th. Ground ball, nice play at third by Donaldson. His throw is in time, good stretch as well. And the inning is over. Tigers get another run as Cabrera goes deep yet again. Number 41 in the season for Miguel. And you're watching Tigers baseball tonight on Fox Sports Detroit, presented by Bell Tire. We're winding it down. First pitch of this inning, and no more bids will be taken. So, again, if you want to sneak a late bid in, 313-471-2100, hurry up. We're still taking your calls. Tigers wives busy at work. 313-471-2100. Meanwhile, Tigers have a new pitcher now. It's Joaquin Benoit.
Well, Jim Leyland is going to piece this one together with Dotel pitching the 7th, Benoit for the 8th, and hopefully it's Valverde for the 9th.
68th appearance for Joaquin. Opponent's batting just .222 against him this year. Seth Smith will lead it off. It'll be Smith, Reddick, and Cespedes. Ball 1 to Smith, who has a walk reaching on an error as well.
Benoit had that one stretch this year where he was giving up lots of gopher balls, but he really hasn't given up many home runs lately.
Now the 1-0. 2 balls, no strikes. Every time we talk to Jim Leyland about Joaquin Benoit, he says the same thing. He really has a good feel for how to pitch. He knows how to work hitters. Very smart guy. A 2-0 coming home, and that is rolled foul outside of the bag at first base.
I think part of that as well, it goes hand in hand with the fact that Jim, he really knows how to use Benoit. He knows when Benoit needs a day off. Benoit won't go to him, but Jim knows when Benoit needs that break, and he's able to refresh him. And that's one of the reasons why Joaquin has been one of the best setup men in the American League the last 3 years, really all of baseball.
Well, that's always been one of the toughest things for managers to do, is to manage your bullpen, and Leyland has done a really good job of identifying when he can go to the well on Villarreal and on Benoit when they need some time. 3-1 pitch, driven down the right field line. That's going to get down and go all the way to the wall. Garcia will dig it up, and Smith has himself a leadoff double. Well, just a reminder, as you enjoy a cold one, to look forward to Miller Time later in tonight's game, brought to you by Miller Lite. Sixth hit of the game for the Athletics. And that's their first hit since the 3rd inning tonight. Here's Reddick. In there, strike 1. Reddick into a double play back in the 5th inning. A couple of fly balls to right as well. Swing and a miss. Reddick goes up there and takes some big swings.
Not trying to hit many singles. It's had a huge year. 29 big flies, driven in 79. Yeah, but the Oakland Athletics as a team take big swings, and they strike out quite often as a result of that.
Wave and a miss. And Benoit strikes him out.
Nice little change up here from Benoit, fading down and away from Josh Reddick. Cespedes has a couple of singles today, and he is grounded out to 3rd base, and he has swung at the first pitch every at bat.
2 out of 3 tonight for Cespedes. Ball 1 missing outside. Benoit came into this game 7th in the American League among relievers in strikeouts. Just picked up his 77th. The Tigers' entire staff has been a strikeout staff. From the top of the rotation to the back end of the bullpen. Now the 1-0. Popped up foul back out of play. 1 ball, 1 strike. Tiger staff averaging over 8 strikeouts per 9 innings. They've had 8 tonight. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Swing and a miss. Cespedes behind in the count. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
A nice little slide piece there from Benoit. He's got the fastball in the mid-90s. He's got that changeup that fades down and away from the left-handers, and also that slide piece that he features mostly to the right-handed batters.
Here's the 1-2 coming home, and it's inside and low. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Here are the rookie ranks for Yoenis Cespedes. 2nd in runs and homers, RBIs. He defected from Cuba to the Dominican Republic this past offseason. And the 2-2. Bouncing in, 3 balls, 2 strikes. For as talented as Cespedes is, and certainly his physical attributes lead you to believe that he's going to be a big-time player, there were still some, Rod, that felt that he may need a little time to get acclimated to big league pitching, but apparently that hasn't been the case.
Well, when you've only played schedules of 90 games per year when he was playing for that Cuban national team, and even though that tape, I guess it was, that was sent to a lot of the general managers, very impressive with power. I mean, you still have to go out there and you still have to get it done. And the fact that he played Dominican winter ball this year and he did not do very well.
Right. I remember that. And many were wondering why he played. Here's the 3-2. Driven toward left center field. Dirks coming hard, and he'll make the running catch. Andy with a fine running play.
Andy Dirks having a real nice night. Couple of singles, scored a run. Comes in, makes a nice play. He started in right field last night. Quentin Berry was in left field. Dirks can play all 3 outfield positions. I'm sure Dirks saw Cespedes in Dominican Republic this last offseason. Dirks was a star down there this offseason. Said he might go back this year.
Here's Moss, a big swing and a miss, 0-1. Ground out, strikeout pop up for Brandon Moss. Leadoff double by Smith here in the 8th, but he's still anchored at second base. And the 0-1. 0-2.
Dotel throwing 95. Benoit 96 with his fastball. Verlander was all the way up to 99 today. They have just overpowered this Oakland Athletics batting order.
Valverde tuning up. And the 0-2. Fouled it straight back. 96. Moss had a big night last night in the opener with 3 hits, double and an RBI, but quiet tonight, 0 for 3.
And Benoit can go a couple different ways right now here with Moss if he chooses to do so. He can go with that changeup that fades down and away, or he could simply climb that ladder with another heater in the mid-90s. And to see if he can get himself a swing and miss, or to get Moss to pop it up.
Swing and a miss.
Change, please.
2 strikeouts in the inning for Benoit. He pitches around a leadoff double. We go to the bottom of the 8th. The Tigers up 5-0 in the bottom of the 8th. Tigers' 3rd inning was a big frame, and it all started with a couple of bunt singles. And then Justin Verlander went 6 innings, threw 122 pitches tonight. It was not overly sharp, but it didn't matter. He gave up no runs. And Miguel Cabrera, well, he just keeps on hitting. 41st home run, trailing Hamilton by just 1 now.
Yeah, this was one of the turning points of the game when their ace pitcher, Brett Anderson, slipped on the mound and had to leave with an apparent oblique strain.
So Garcia will lead things off in the bottom of the 8th, 5-0 Detroit. Garcia's 0 for 3. And so because of that Anderson injury, the Athletics have had to dip to the bullpen early in this game. They've got a new pitcher on here in the 8th inning. And it's Pedro Figueroa.
He's got a great arm, but he hasn't been able to command it in the big leagues yet. ERA is at 2, but he has 14 strikeouts in just 18 innings.
Back up the middle. Knocked down by Pennington. Better hurry. And safe. Garcia beats it out.
I meant to say he has 14 walks in 18 innings. Figueroa. Good speed here by Garcia. 6'4", 240 with speed.
And to me, that's what makes him a really intriguing prospect. Yes, he can hit for power. He can hit for some home runs and drive the ball. But a kid that big with that kind of speed.
I was talking to Lloyd McClendon today while Garcia was taking batting practice in. And Lloyd was saying that he feels like he's going to be a really good prospect. Watch him run here.
And it seems like every at bat he's either hitting the ball up the middle or to right field.
It's a good approach to have.
Dirks Little looper back to short. That's going to drop in. And so the Tigers have the first 2 men on here in the 8th.
Garcia patterns himself after Miguel Cabrera, and that's what Miguel Cabrera has done his entire major league career. He's made a living hitting balls in the right center and right field. Every time you see one of them, you see the other one. They're inseparable.
Here's Gerald Laird. Every Tiger hit now has at least a hit or a walk in this game, and for Gerald, a couple of singles. One was a perfectly placed bunt single back in the 3rd to fuel a rally.
First time I can ever remember Gerald Laird bunting in that direction. Gerald Laird has gotten a lot of bunt hits in his major league career, but usually they're right down the 3rd baseline. If you weren't with us earlier, he bunted down toward first base and was safe on a really good play by the pitcher at the time, Brett Anderson.
Tigers have 10 hits now. It's fouled back out of play. So one night after the offense came alive here at home and they posted 14 hits, they have 10 more this evening.
If the Tigers could just put their finger on why they just have not performed on the road this year.
Whole different team at home. That goes without saying. High fly ball. Straightaway center. Cespedes under it. Garcia tagging, but bluffing. First out of the inning.
Tigers played some small ball in the 3rd inning, and this is exactly how they got it going. It was Dirks who bunted toward first base, followed by Gerald Laird. They had a great scouting report on Brett Anderson. And they knew that he would fall off toward the 3rd base side of the pitching rubber, and both guys were able to exploit that knowledge that they were given.
Jackson 0 for 3, had a base on balls in his last at bat. Ball 1 from Figueroa. Pedro had Tommy John surgery, had it back in June of 2010. He missed nearly the entire season last year in his recovery.
That Tommy John surgery, guys come back as good as new.
Some guys take a little bit longer, some guys not as much. But yeah, typically they have turned that surgery into something that's kind of routine. 2-0 on Jackson, Albuquerque, and Valverde. Ball outside. 3-0. We'll square off here tomorrow in the final game of the series. Malone and Sanchez for the 105 game. And there's a walk. So Jackson gets his 2nd consecutive walk. He's going to load the bases. And Figueroa's in some trouble now with only 1 out. And the Tigers already leading a 5-0. Two-run double in the 3rd for Omar. Ground ball foul. 0-1 the count. We're at Comerica Park tonight in downtown Detroit in game 2 in this series. The Tigers up 5-0 over the A's. Mario and Pemba, Rod Allen, happy you're with us this evening. Brady Klima, our producer. Brian Moss is our director tonight. Here's the 0-1. .97 on that last pitch from the lefty Figueroa. Garcia, Dirks, Jackson.
Triple split.
I love triple split.
You do, don't you?
Here's the 1-1. Swing and a miss. 1-2 on Infante. Omar now 17 RBIs in this game, and there's that guy again waiting on deck, Cabrera.
Lurking.
The 1-2 fouled away. Omar came in hitting just 185 in his previous 20 games, but he delivered the biggest early hit the Tigers had in this game, the 2-run double, which got him on the board. Bouncing in, 2 balls, 2 strikes on Infante. Bruce Chen still twirling a shutout tonight for KC. Attaboy, Bruce. Top 7, 1-0. Royals have the lead.
Get Bruce Chen some breathing room.
The 2-2 popped up. Back to the seats and out of play. Chris Sale started that game for the Chicago White Sox, and if the Royals could beat Chris Sale tonight, boy, would that help out the Tigers.
Chris Sale apparently not really hurting his chances for possibly winning his first Cy Young of his career in his first year as a starting pitcher.
He's in the middle of the fray, that's for sure. Inside, run it full now, 3 balls and 2 strikes, and that time Figueroa came in at 98 miles an hour. And Cabrera waiting on deck.
We'll hear those MVP chants once again this evening when Cabrera does get up, if he does get up this inning. What is that about?
I think he's trying to delay having to face Cabrera. Pedro Figueroa, as the bases loaded behind him. 3-2 on Omar Infante. Here it is. Driven down the left field line, foul. $29,734 in the ballpark tonight. For game 2 in this series, they wrap it up tomorrow. Day baseball here. Being hooked into the seats. Fouled away again. What an at bat this is turning into. 9 pitches now that Infante has seen. Figueroa can't get him out. He has thrown 21 here in the 8th. Ground ball left side of the infield. Backhanded play. Throw to second one. That's all they're going to get. Drew went deep to the hole to get that baseball. Score the run. The Tigers now lead 6-0.
In case you missed Miguel's last time up, he got himself a 94-mile-per-hour fastball that was out of the zone. He simply pulled the hands up, got on top of it, and hit it out for his 41st home run of the season.
And the MVP chance ringing down. Also walked a couple of times, once intentionally tonight. First and third with 2 outs. 6-0 Tigers. Swing and a miss. .130 runs driven in. Dirks and Infante, your base runners. Here's the 0-1. It'll get back out of play down the right field line, and the count is 0-2. Sixth player in franchise history to hit the 40 plateau. Cecil back in '91. The most recent. And the 0-2. Swing and a miss. He struck him out. 98 up at the letters. Tigers settle for 1 run. We've played 8 at the ballpark. 6-0 Detroit.
Baseball as the Tigers host the Oakland A's. Coverage begins at 12:30 with Tigers Live. That's Tigers Baseball tomorrow at 12:30 here on Fox Sports Detroit. Let's hope the Tigers are looking for a sweep at that time.
Would be nice. They've got the closer in now. Jose Valverde will come in.
Valverde was up in last night's game when the Tigers had a 6-run lead, but then after they scored a few more runs after the grand slam by Miguel Cabrera, Luis Marte came in to close out the Athletics.
Valverde's first pitch, a strike.
It was hard to believe, but it was true, obviously, that the Tigers, with that grand slam last night, their first of the year and the last team in the majors to accomplish that.
Yeah, they had to get to mid-September before they got one. Tigers have 10 hits, only 6 for the Athletics. One ball, one strike. Valverde, career against the Athletics, 7 innings, 2 hits, no runs. He's 5 for 5 in save opportunities. This, of course, is not one. And the 1-1. Ball high, 2 balls, 1 strike. So Leland using all three of his main pieces out of the bullpen at the back end. Dotel in the 7th, Benoit in the 8th, and now Valverde here in the 9th.
It's usually a good night when that combination gets a chance to toe the rubber along with the ace, Justin Verlander.
And the 2-1 outside, 3 balls, 1 strike. Derek Barton waiting on deck. Here's the 3-1. Ground ball left side. Cabrera has an easy hop. Out. Prince had to hold on to the bag with his big toe. 1 out.
Yeah, Miguel threw that ball into the baseline, and Prince simply readjusted and held on with the right foot.
Derek Barton tonight, a single, a walk. It's also flied out. And Valverde misses. 1 ball, no strikes. Anibal Sanchez will throw tomorrow in the series finale here for the Tigers. Before the Twins come in for the weekend. That's outside, and the count goes to 2-0. Tigers got 3 in the 3rd, 1 in the 5th, 1 in the 7th, 1 in the 8th. And they have put up some pretty good offense here in the first 2 games against the pitching staff that was much heralded coming in.
Second best ERA in the American League coming in.
And 24 hits in the first 2 games of the series. Not bad.
The 12 runs they gave up in last night's game, the Oakland A's pitching staff, was the most they've given up all season. 11 was the previous high. The Boston Red Sox did that to them earlier this year.
Here's the 2-1. Off the plate. 3-1. Tables have turned a little bit in the first 2 games in the series. And 3.14 ERA was second best in the American League, with the Tigers with 5 home run balls. And hitting well with men in scoring position. Here's the 3-1. Full count on Derek Barton. And the 3-2 is strike 3 call. See you later, Barton. 2 gone. Well, we want to thank everyone for being involved tonight. Those that called in and placed a bid. And the auction tonight, our Favorite Things auction, benefiting the Detroit Tigers Foundation. And don't forget, you can find out who won in the bidding process on Tigers Live after the game. Interviews, analysis, and our winners as well for the auction tonight. Tune in. Find out who's going to have lunch. Steak dinners with Simo and Rod. Steak lunches, as it is. There's a ball outside to Derek Norris.
I also had a gift certificate in there from my favorite people, Ace Hardware.
Really?
You know, so somebody's going to have to do some honeydew.
By the way, your acting debut on that was outstanding.
Somebody's got to do some honeydews, whoever gets that one.
Here's the 1-0 pitch. 2 balls, no strikes. Last chance for the A's tonight. It's Derek Norris. He's fanned a couple of times. Looks like he's ready to go hunting in northern Michigan real soon.
Talking about Melvin before the game today, and he was talking about when they looked at the schedule when it came out last year. They targeted this very difficult stretch they got to go through right now. Detroit, New York, and Texas. But I don't think he expected for his club to be where it's at right now, though. So
no, probably not.
I simply pointed that out to him, and he said, well, you're right.
And a rough start so far, having, well, apparently going to lose the first 2. They still have 1 out left, but they've got another game here in Detroit. Yankees, Texas on the horizon on the rest of this road trip. And Papa Grande with a 2-out walk. Cliff Pennington will stand in. Pennington, a couple of strikeouts and a pop-up. 1 more out to get. Tigers lead 6-0 here in the 9th. Runner going. He will not be challenged. A strike called. One of the stories early in this game with the A's inability to get some runs in against Verlander when they had a couple of hits, a couple of base runners in the first few innings. They are 0 for 7 tonight with men in scoring position. Here's the 0-1. Just off the plate. 1 ball, 1 strike on Pennington. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Line drive to right center field. That's a base hit. Garcia will play it on a couple of hops. They'll send the runner home and he will score. It's an RBI hit for Pennington. And that's the first run of the game for the Athletics. It's 6-1. Back up to the top of the order now, Stephen Drew. He's had 1 hit tonight. It was an infield single back in the 3rd. That is the 7th hit overall for the Athletics. Runner going again with no throw, and there's the strike. Oh, and 1 on Drew. Lofted to shallow left center field. Dirk's on the run. Can't get it. Knocks it down on 1 hop. That'll score another run to make it 6-2. And Stephen Drew gets an RBI. It's going to bring Jeff Jones out of the Tiger dugout.
It's a good effort here by Andy.
Well, don't forget, tomorrow we're going to close out the series with an afternoon ball game. The upcoming pitching matchup is presented by Gordon Chevrolet. We'll see Tommy Malone, another left-hander for the Athletics, on the hill for the A's, and Anibal Sanchez for the Tigers.
Which means the youngster Garcia will probably get another start in right field. And Sanchez, the last time he took the ball for the Tigers, well, he was tremendous.
Flirting with a no-hitter with Sanchez in Cleveland.
Must be a little chilly down there. Q all bundled up.
It's not San Diego weather.
Southern California kid.
2 runs in, 2 outs. Here's Seth Smith. And again, the runner going, and for the 3rd straight time, the Tigers allow him just to steal it. Defensive indifference, no stolen base on any of these. But the A's have pretty much taken the base, and because of that, have 2 runs. And just in case, Albuquerque and Smiley warming up.
Smiley's been up about 3 different times today.
Strike call. 1-1. Drew now at second base. Strike called. 1-2 on Seth Smith. Looking for that final strike. And a ground ball to first. That's a foul ball. Valverde's been about 50-50 in his pitches here in the 9th inning. 12 balls, 12 strikes. Ratio, that's the word I was looking for.
Only 2 off-speed pitches of the 24 total pitches thrown this evening by Valverde.
Here's the 1-2 outside. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Make that 3 off-speed pitches now thrown.
Reddick waiting his turn on deck, hoping he gets a shot. He's haven't done anything offensively tonight until getting 2 here in the 9th. That'll get foul. Two and 2 on Seth Smith. Tech on runs the last couple of innings, looking a little bit bigger right now. Otherwise, we'd have a 4-2 game. Swing and a miss, and this one is finally over. Valverde strikes out Smith, and that is that for game 2 in the series. Tigers ride the arm of Justin Verlander. Another nice offensive night. Miguel Cabrera with a home run in this game, and Alex Gordon meanwhile has hit a 2-run double in KC. It's now 3-0 Royals in the bottom of the 7th.
That indeed is good news.
And perhaps the Tigers, when this night is over, will be 2 games behind Chicago. There's your final 6-2. Back with more in a moment.